The Manchester United circus continues, and Jason Wilcox kind of sees himself as a manager, and that's why things between him and Ruben Amorim are not very good. Yan Diamonde basically saying how much he loves Liverpool, so that's a massive red flag in regards to transfers. Mazraoui to Juventus. Juventus want Mazraoui, but I will say, if we're going back to a back four, we should be keeping Mazraoui any day of the week. I'd rather sell Dalot. Rashford to Barcelona looks certain, and Fabrizio Romano gives an update on what's going on in regards to the Manchester United manager situation. There's a meeting with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer going on as we speak, and we could hear an announcement as soon as this evening, depending on their decision. Some sources say they're going to wait till Monday, see what happens in the Brighton game, see what Darren Fletcher does, but I think we will hear something in probably the next 48 hours. So let's get into the news. Let's get into the stories. Boom. Starting with Mbeumo is back. You know what? Dorgu's done all right. Give credit to Dorgu where it's due. He's done all right. But it's just nice to have an actual attacker or winger back. He won't play versus Brighton. That would be nuts if he played versus Brighton. I think we could see Shea Lacey on the right wing versus Brighton, but I don't know if he'll start. But he should be back for the Manchester City game. If Ahmad gets knocked out, he could also be back for the Manchester City game, which is a big game. And I tell you what, we've needed one of them, Mbeumo or Ahmad. I think to lose both at the same time, we could just see it. I think, look, we actually were really good versus Burnley when you look at performances. We probably should have won that game 4-1 on another day. But you look at the Wolves game, that was one of the worst games ever. Sen Lamons kept us in. You look at the Leeds game, I just feel like we've missed Mbeumo and Ahmad. And some people say, yeah, but we didn't beat West Ham or Everton with Mbeumo and Ahmad. I know, but we definitely needed Mbeumo. He's clinical, and we weren't clinical versus Burnley. So let's talk about. Oh, that was a loud clap, wasn't it? Let's talk about Jason Wilcox. So this has come from Samuel Luckhurst. Now, if I was to describe Samuel Luckhurst as a journalist, I would say he gets a bit of information here and there, but he does like to stir the pot. He likes to exaggerate. He likes to stir the pot. He knows what he's doing. He's thinking, what's going to get my story the most clicks and interactions? Ooh, drama. Spread the drama. Stir the pot. So you obviously have to take everything you've heard with a pinch of salt. But apparently, Ruben Amorim was infuriated by Jason Wilcox likening his role to the manager behind the scenes at Man United. This is what promoted his outburst that he should be referred to as the manager in the press conference post-Leeds. Now, Ruben Amorim's rant after the Leeds game didn't make sense because when we appointed Ruben Amorim, the first thing we said was he is a head coach, and Ruben Amorim starts saying, I'm the manager, not a head coach. And I remember us being like, but we appointed him to be the head coach, and now he's saying he's the manager, which was weird. And then we did this live stream on it saying, I assume that Ruben Amorim is maybe been told to do something different because a manager kind of makes more decisions. A manager plays his way, and you bring the signings to play his way. A head coach is more, you bring in a load of players, and then you get the manager to sort of get the best out of those players. And I think Ruben Amorim saw himself as a manager. Maybe they lied to Ruben Amorim and said he would be manager and they would back him. And then they've said, no, we want to play this way. We're going to bring in this player to play this way. You're more of a head coach, and Wilcox saying he's a manager behind the scenes. And look, I wasn't Ruben Amorim's biggest fan. I think Ruben Amorim deserved to be sacked. But I tell you what, he has every right to be peed off with Wilcox. Do I think that Ruben Amorim should have adapted and gone to a back four and tried to get the best out of our players? Yes. Do I think Ruben Amorim would have done a much better job if he tried to do that? Yes. Do I understand why Wilcox was putting pressure on Amorim to do that? Yes. But at the end of the day, he's the guy you appointed to do the coaching. Leave him to do the coaching. If you don't trust him to do the coaching right, then you just sack him when you bring someone better in. I think, the fact that Jason Wilcox has gone to Amorim, I'm the manager behind the scenes, that's going to pee off any manager. That is going to absolutely wind up any manager. I mean, look, this could be Samuel Luckhurst doing this on purpose to, spread a bit of drama and that. But he also did say that Ruben Amorim published the damning feedback at his final press conference as United head coach. And well-placed sources said the meeting between Ruben Amorim and Wilcox was horrendous and that Wilcox apparently was out of order. United sources said Wilcox was Amorim's boss and well within his rights to provide feedback. I think Ruben Amorim, I've got two minds about this. Club is a circus. Ruben Amorim wasn't doing a very good job. And Ruben Amorim definitely needed feedback. And maybe every time you told Ruben Amorim, maybe you should do this, maybe you should do that, he went mental and he didn't want to do it and he didn't want to change and he didn't want to adapt. And I think Ruben Amorim was very stubborn. I think he should have changed. I think he should have adapted. And every time someone mentioned that to him, he was absolutely adamant he didn't need to change or adapt. And he was so stubborn. And I reckon, Ruben Amorim probably overreacted, but I think at the same time, Ruben Amorim has every right to be peed off because he's like, why are you telling me what to do? You employ me to be manager and you're telling me what to do. It's like I could see it from both ways, do you know what I mean? Like, it just really explains that the club is an absolute mess from top to bottom and we've got bigger things to fix. But I think it's a mixture of Ruben Amorim's stubbornness and Jason Wilcox getting too involved. But let's talk about transfer news because I could go on and on about that for ages. And honestly, I'm fed up of talking about Wilcox. They're all incompetent. United linked Yang Diamonde. I want to play at Anfield. I want to play for Liverpool. I'm a big Liverpool fan. My father's dream is to see me play for Liverpool. Cool. Don't want him at Man United. Bye-bye. I know, obviously, look, Ekatike is a Man United fan. He plays for Liverpool. But I just think, Ekatike never came out and was like, I'm a huge... he said he's a Man United fan, but Ekatike's never come out and been like, oh, I dream of playing for Man United. Man United's the dream. Yeah. He went to Liverpool. I don't know. It just kind of gives me the ick. Look, I'm not going to lie. If in 3 years' time he is as good as Lamine Yamal, I'm not going to care that he's a Liverpool fan. And if he wants to come to United, I'll take him. But when he's a bit inconsistent right now, but look, promising signs to AFCON, promising signs this season, and he says he's amazing, a massive Liverpool fan, it does give you the ick a bit. I can't lie. It just gives me the ick a little bit. I know Ekatike is a Man United fan, Sterling was a Man United fan, but it just unless you're absolutely fantastic and you want to play for Man United in the future, it just gives me the ick a little bit. I tell you what, this would annoy me. Juventus are interested in Mazraoui. Juventus' interest in Mazraoui isn't new as they've already explored the possibility of signing him in August. They've now rekindled their interest. Mazraoui in a back four, amazing. Mazraoui, the first 3 months of last season when we played a back four, our best player. Mazraoui as a right centre-back in a back three, very solid. Mazraoui as a right wing-back, did not like it. I love Mazraoui. He's so technically good. He's a fantastic footballer. Mazraoui is a level above Diogo Dalot. There's no doubt in my mind about that. He's a level above Diogo Dalot as a right back in a back four. Mazraoui's fitness record, he had a very good first season at United. This season he's had more issues staying fit. There's question marks around that, his time at Bayern, but I would not be selling Mazraoui, especially if we're going to back four. The last player I'd want to sell is Mazraoui. If I'm thinking of Man United's best starting 11, and me and Cass were doing this, we're actually saying, because the midfield's a massive issue, we'd actually go Mazraoui right back, and we'd go Leacher at left back, just because the midfield's a massive issue, and Leacher could invert into midfield, which I know is what City do, what Arsenal do, but potentially certain games we'd have Luke Shaw there for the overlap. We'd have Heaven and De Ligt as our centre-back pairing, just because Heaven is quick, and then De Ligt's got the height, and Heaven's very good on the ball. Le Mans in goal. Casemiro, Maino, Bruno, midfield three, but you've got Leacher to invert and cover that ground, so Maino can push further ahead. And then the front three, we'd have gone Cunha to drop deep, and Boomer on the left in the Rafinha type role, Ahmad on the right, balling out like he is at AFCON, but potentially you could put Sesko in the middle and Cunha on the left. I think that's quite a nice United squad. Clearly needs a left winger. But I look at it and I think, well, that's, Mazraoui's a big part of that. So I wouldn't want Mazraoui to go anywhere. There's a few clubs interested in him in the summer. I don't think he leaves unless he just gets no game time and we decide Diogo Dalot's better, which we know it's not. And talking of leaving, Barcelona have told Rashford's camp they would love to keep him beyond the season. Rashford's loan has a £26 million buy option, but not mandatory. No immediate trigger of buy clause, it's too early. Basically, they're not going to buy Rashford now. Imagine if he got an ACL injury. There would be no point in buying him now if he was going to miss the first few months of next season, for example. But I think it will get to April, May, and I think they will trigger Rashford's buy option unless Rashford completely falls off a cliff second half of the season. The only thing that concerns me is now Rafinha's back. Rashford is now on the bench more. But I think they will buy Rashford for 26 million. I think that's a steal. And if they don't, we're going back to 4-3-3. We need a left winger. Realistically, I know a lot of people won't want Rashford back, but he's better than a lot of other players. We'd have to spend 60-70 million on a lot of other players. My number one left wing choice would be Njai, though. Last but not least, on the manager situation, Ineos have held direct meetings with Ollie, Carrick and their camps, and they will announce the interim manager next week. So, yeah, I feel like this weekend could be a slow week for news and all of that, but I think things will heat up very early next week. Thank you guys for watching today's 10-minute roundup. Let me know your thoughts down below. It's FA Cup weekend. Hopefully we win because we can't go out of cup competition first round again, can we? See you next time. Bye.